Hi guys, it's Kirby. Welcome to my channel. We are still in April dupes, which means all month long we are doing makeup dupes, usually high-end versus drugstore. Today is my first ever discontinued dupe, so I'm pretty excited about that. The dupe that we are going to be exploring today is for the discontinued, or at least I think it's discontinued, Too Faced Just Peachy Mattes. This was one of my favorite palettes back in the day. I feel like Too Faced has gotten a little boring and a little, I don't want to say outdated, but it isn't the way Too Faced used to be a couple years ago or a few years ago. Wow, more than a few years ago now. This was, I went out and bought it full price. I loved it. I love these peachy neutral tones because they're neutral without just being a beige or a brown, and I just really loved it. Also, it still has a very reminiscent peach scent to it. Sometimes I would have just come down into my makeup room just to smell this palette. Ugh, if you know, you know. I've kept this more for memory reasons or makeup collectible reasons. I don't really use it much anymore. I have disinfected it quite a few times since having it and using it, and I disinfected it before this video. But the dupe that we're talking about today is the Milani Ungilded Most Loved Mattes, which, you guys, come on, they're color-wise, they're an exact dupe for each other. I haven't ever used Milani eyeshadows, so I'll be interested to see kind of how they work, and if this does do the same thing or the same job, I will be so ecstatic because it will probably become my new favorite eyeshadow palette. So let's get into the nitty-gritty a little bit. This Too Faced Just Peachy Mattes retailed way back in the day for $45. It has 12 shades, which means every shade is $3.75. As I said, I do believe that this is discontinued. However, it is listed as just out of stock on a lot of different sites, but I have not seen this Just Peachy palette anywhere. It did have a very nice mirror, magneted close, a very heavy-duty, sturdy palette or component. It smells like peaches. So nice. The Milani Ungilded palette is $19.99, so it is a $25.01 savings, I believe. It does come with 12 eyeshadows, very similar shades, which would make every eyeshadow $1.66. The packaging on this says, hyperpigmented all matte eyeshadow palette, your most loved eyeshadow palette curated with the most versatile and flattering all matte shades, undeniably ungilded. I don't know any verbiage for the Just Peachy Mattes because, like I said, it's been a minute since it has been out. So what we're going to do first is we're going to swatch the shades side by side so that we can kind of see how they look swatched, because if you're looking at the palettes themselves, they do have a lot of similar colors. They're not necessarily laid out in the exact same format, but they do have very similar color story. So that's why I picked this to be a dupe, because for those people who like a natural but colorful natural look, or neutrals but colorful neutrals, this is a great palette to start with. So we're going to do Too Faced and Milani swatches side by side. I think I'm going to put the Too Faced swatches on the top of the screen and the Milani swatches on the bottom of the screen so that we can kind of speed up the process of swatching them together. Let's also try to remember that my Too Faced Just Peachy palettes is years and years old, so it probably isn't as creamy as it once was in terms of eyeshadow formulation. I still think we're getting a good, decent idea of what the colors were, or are. I think for the most part, the swatches are really, really similar. I think there's a few tone variations with some of the more peachy and orangey tones in these palettes, whereas I think that the Just Peachy is a little bit more on the like pinky peach, and then the Ungilded is a little bit more on like the orangey side. Those are like the slight variations, but overall I think that there is a good shade match. So what we're going to do, I've already done like a foundation and bronzer, and I've prepped my eyes. We gotta smooth it out though. And if you are familiar or unfamiliar with how I do dupes on my video, we really try to work with the products side by side so that we can kind of see a very good idea of how they work, how they perform, how they look next to each other. So what I'm going to do is the Too Faced on this side and the Milani on this side. We're going to try and do this, use the same brushes or brush types with each palette. So I have like a set of brushes over here and a set of brushes over here that are the exact same brushes, so that again, we're giving them a good fair chance. And when picking shadows for the actual eye color or the eye look, we're going to be trying to choose shades that are really similar to each other to, again, see if we can kind of produce something that is the same, because these palettes do look so similar. So first, I'm taking a Wet n Wild crease brush, and on the Too Faced side, I think I'm going to go in with Peach Tea, which is a light brown shade. And I'm going to put that in and above my crease. On the Milani side, I'll take my Wet n Wild crease brush, and I think I'm going to use the shade Umber the Sun, because I think that that is the closest to the Peach Tea shade. Next, I'm going to take a Wet n Wild shader brush, and I think I'm going to go into the shade on the Too Faced palette, Peach Punch, and possibly Peach Cobbler, which Peach Punch is like a very pinky shade, and Peach Cobbler is like a brownie peachy shade. I know that's very descriptive. And I'm going to kind of put this in my crease, on my lid, kind of in my outer corner. Okay, and with a Wet n Wild shader brush on the Milani side, the equivalent to Peach Punch is probably Swell the Rose, and Peach Cobbler is Salty Caramel. So those are the two that I think I'm going to go into for the Milani side. Same placement. Okay, and finally with a Alter Ego number 5 brush, which is kind of like a shader brush, I'm going to go in on the Too Faced side with Peach Butter. And this is a very, very soft, like peach color, almost white, with like a hint of peach. And I'm putting this on like the inner part of my lid / blending it out. And then on the Milani side, I'm going to take up my Daily Latte on the same brush and just put it in the same placement. And then under the eyes, I'm going to use Fresh Picked on the Too Faced side with a Morphe M455. And then on the Milani side, I'm going to use, well, there isn't a really good match for this one. Probably Busta Mauve or maybe Salted Caramel with a Alter Ego 7, which is the same type of brush. I just didn't have two of the Morphe. On the Milani side, I'm also going to go in with a little bit of the Salted Caramel. Alright, so this is the look so far. I'm going to go off camera and finish my eyes and my face so that we can kind of give it a more fair assessment. But honestly, you guys, for having a discontinued dupe, like this palette is discontinued. You can't get it anymore. So having something that is like fairly similar, I think it created a very, very close eye look. So I'm going to go finish my face and we will be back for some final thoughts. Alright guys, so I finished my face really quickly. We are like extra powdered and matte. Look at these like 2008 bangs. That's what happens when you're growing your bangs out. So anyways, I feel like I created the same look with these two palettes. I don't think that there is much of a difference between them. I do feel like the Just Peaches is a little bit more on the pink side, and the Milani Ungilded is a little bit more on like the toasty orange side. But I do feel like if you've seen videos of this, I know that there might be a Just Peaches mini out there still looming around. You can get the same look and effect for, you know, 20-something dollars less. $20 for 12 shades of the exact same palette almost. And I was very blown away by the Milani eyeshadows. They were very creamy. I've never used their eyeshadows before. I've used other products from them and have been pleasantly surprised, but this eyeshadow palette was very nice to use, easy to blend, gave a very rich color payoff. And again, my Just Peaches is a little old, so like, give it a break on how like crusty dusty it was. But I really enjoyed this kind of dupe, kind of trying to find something discontinued, but like, you can still get it today and cheaper and better maybe. It doesn't have the peach scent though. But if you loved the Too Faced Just Peachy mattes, let me know down in the comment section below. Would you try out the Milani Ungilded Most Loved mattes? Let's start a conversation down in the comment section below. I will list both of these products down in the description box below so you can check them out on your own time. If you enjoyed this video or found it helpful, give it a big old thumbs up. As always, please be sure to subscribe and hit the little notification bell. I would hate for you to miss out on any more videos. Thanks so much for watching, guys.